So, I want to talk to you today about my next coping mechanism that I found for dry January, just to help me get through dry January this year. So, just a little update. My name is Rebecca. I'm a newly diagnosed autistic adult, and I'm trying to learn how um, to find different coping mechanisms, sorry, other than alcohol. The reason being is basically last year we did dry January. We just wanted to see if we could do it really because I was starting to wonder if I was taking a little bit too much alcohol in, and I started to reduce my alcohol then quite drastically this year. So I've been counting my units and making sure that I don't kind of rely on alcohol to get through stressful times. However, this year I noticed that it was a little bit more of a stressful time in January, and I found that I have been noticing little cravings. Now, these little cravings, I have them from time to time, and they come and go usually, and I might get upset and I might think, I want a glass of wine. And then I kind of go, probably not the best time to have a glass of wine just to relax yourself. So, I've been doing this all year anyway, but I wanted to kind of look at other coping mechanisms and what kind of I can turn to in order to change my feelings, in order to reduce those cravings. And this will help with anything really, it'll help if you're on a diet, you're trying to reduce your cravings for chocolate or, sugar, or, you're trying to get yourself to do things. Maybe you're trying to motivate yourself to go out and, go for a walk or a run or something. These are quite useful techniques, I think, for anyone. So it's not just about kind of dry January, but for me this year, it's about um yeah, learning how to cope, and not thinking about alcohol as my only method of coping. Not that I don't think I do think of it as my only method of coping, but I've got a natural. I think we all naturally think, oh, you've had a bad day. Oh, why don't you have a glass of wine? And it's just a natural thing. I think society kind of says, go to the pub at the end of the day, that kind of thing. So I think it's just something that we've kind of our culture learned when we were growing up, about having like a something to settle you a little bit, and usually alcohol was one of those things. So I've started a book called My Little Book of Coping Mechanisms. If you haven't been watching, I'm on my apologies. I've got this little microphone. I don't know if it helps, but if it does help, hopefully it'll make um, things a bit clearer. Sometimes I forget it, and sometimes I haven't got it with me. But here we go. So I'm on my fourth coping mechanism. So I think we've got 10 days left now of dry January, and what I want to do is I want to have a little book that I've created myself I can take with me, or that I can keep by the side of my bed or something like that, and just keep with me so that I have coping mechanisms always at hand, and I can talk about them and kind of say to myself, look, these are the feelings that you'll get from this. And this is my little book of coping mechanisms. I kind of made it out of some paper, some paper I found in the house, and just kind of used a little thing to tie it together. Some yarn just to tie it together. So yeah, that that's pretty much what I've done. So here we go. So my next coping mechanism in my book, which I think is number 4, I think. I hope I'm correct there. So number 4 is finding a way to just get through the next half an hour, the rest of the day. Because what I noticed my mind was trying to do, and my mind does this to me a lot. My mind does this to me a lot. So I might be on a diet, I might be doing something, I might be trying to kind of get myself exercising every day, something like that. And what will happen is my mind will say, "Oh, well, you've got like, you want to do this for a whole month, right? Well, you've got an extra like 10 days to cope with, or you've got an extra like you want to do this for life. You'd have to be doing this for the rest of your life, really. Oh gosh, that's a long, long time. Are you sure you're going to be able to cope with that? What if something happens, right?" And I'm like, why are you going that far ahead? I don't need to go that far ahead. My brain was literally thinking yesterday, well, look at you. You've got 11 more days. How are you going to do this? 11 more days you've got. And that's it, and it felt like a lot to think about the next 11 days, right? Because I was obviously thinking I wanted a glass of wine in that moment. And then I thought to myself, no, I don't need to do 11 days in my head, because I was going through those days. I was thinking, what if stuff comes up in those days? I was thinking, what about stressful situations? What about social events that you've got to go to? I was going through the whole, next nearly 2 weeks, right, in my head. And then what if you want to, what about after that? How are you going to do that after that? And I was like, right, what I've got to do is focus on on today, basically the next half an hour, right? This craving, just like sugar cravings, just like any craving, it won't last forever. It's not going to last the next 10 days. It's only going to be around, usually, if you notice cravings, and I've noticed this in the past with alcohol, and I've noticed it with chocolate, I've noticed it with all of the stuff, all of the, stuff that we want to kind of reduce a little bit. Um, it's not around forever. If you can distract yourself for like an hour, you might find, oh, actually, I'm not even thinking about it right now. So it's literally getting past that one tiny moment of, oh, I could do with a glass of wine, and or I could do with a hot chocolate, or I could do with not going out for a walk today. I could do with just lying in bed an extra hour. All of those things. You don't have to get past the next 90 days. You don't have to try and do that in your head. You just have to get past this one moment. So it'll work with all kinds of things. I get sometimes quite low moods, where my brain will say to me, just quit. You don't have to keep going. Why are you even bothering? And I think just getting past that moment, if you just let it go, let it go through its kind of process, it might shout at you for half an hour, but if you just close your eyes and just go, okay, this will pass, this feeling will pass. Usually it passes, and a couple of hours later you're like, oh wow, I got through it. So yeah, that's going to be my next coping mechanism in my book, is just focus on getting through today. Don't focus on tomorrow, don't focus on the next 10 days. It's a bit Eckhart Tolle as well. Eckhart Tolle talks about focusing on right now, because we can't control the present. Can't control the present. We can control. Sorry, we can't control the future. And we can't control the past. So he talks about literally focusing on what we can control, which is how we feel right this second. And that's putting it in a nutshell, mind you. I mean, he's got huge books all about this. But yeah, I think it really comes from it kind of relates to that, really, is just focusing on right now. What can you do right now? How can you get through this moment and forget the rest? That's it. That's my coping mechanism. Bit of a long video today, but that is it.